Family affair, just tell them say, dirty heart can't sweep it broom. They are like the trees that can't bloom, and they shall surely fade away. Now this is the Vice from me in Virgo, locked into family affair link up, you don't know. I'm in a Sadio, Sammy G, Jillian, I'm in a meds, Inska.
Yes. This week on the Did You Know? The man. Dr. Jowallah. Remember I promised an interview. Know everything about this man. So much knowledge, so much to offer to us, black people and people in general. So tonight, family affair link up. We'll be digging, searching.
Questions. When I seek out certain listeners and I ask them what questions they have for you. Some of them questions, I will give them one half, make you go in depth and create presentation as you usually do with those type of questions. So this evening, I want we keep it simple. As I said, I know you don't like a limelight, you know. See, sir, I know you do this for the love, but we want to know about you.
Yes.
Who is Rowan?
Yes. You know, I will always say, but Rowan is a kind of guy that was an observer, but him absorbed everything. As he went around, he realized that knowledge was key. He was an observer. And just someone who has said to himself, you know, over a period of time after 12 years of full-time education, what sense in taking that to the grave rather than just disseminating the information, just letting others know what I know. And at the same time, I'm also learning as I'm sharing. So it's about sharing knowledge, Sammy, nothing else.
And I must say, and I must remind you, it's a lot of questions.
Yes.
I'm going to give you all of them tonight.
That is
all
fine.
Right?
That is fine.
Your last name?
Jowallah.
I don't know Jamaican name. How you get a name there from?
You know, that's a big question. You know, I want to say clearly, there's only one Jowallah in Jamaica.
See.
And when I check, it's one Jowallah in India. But I want to say my great-great-grandfather, he came from India in 1917. And as a matter of fact, he was an indentured servant or worker. He worked at the Rosal Estate for roughly 52 years before he passed in 1974. I met him personally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Jowallah. See? Out of many, we are one, right?
Same
Jamaica,
thing.
Out of many, we are one.
Yes.
All right. So one of the questions I ask you, what area of world history, you know what, before I ask a question, you consider yourself an educator or an historian?
I think my first love was history.
Okay.
But you know what, they say historians sometimes don't make a lot of money. So I kind of went into teaching, but I did social studies at Bethlehem Teachers College. Had a love for history still, went away, studied. But over time, you still consume historical facts. History is a part of you. I did a lot of research. Coming to the United States, I got a adjunct position at a major university where I started teaching African American history.
See it, see
You
it.
know, so the Caribbean history and the connection to the African American history gives me a stronger knowledge base. And having done that for roughly maybe 10 years now, I say I have a passion for history,
You see.
and I will continue to research to educate our people. When I say our people, Caribbean people, African American people too.
Lovely. So that segue into my first real question, even though I ask you a lot of questions. What area of world history is most intriguing to you and why?
I think when you look at history, I think I'm going to make a kind of separation. And I think I am not going to go into Caribbean history aspect because I think a lot of the things that were taught to us in high school and even at college level in Jamaica was somewhat slant. It was produced by white men. You know, we regurgitated it and we presented it to other children that we taught over a period of time. So I'm looking at history from a more African diaspora sort of history where we look at in-depth historical context of what the black man experience or what the black woman experience has been since they were enslaved as early as the 16th, 17th century. And they were brought to the Caribbean as well as to the Americas. So I want to look at that those historical movements. And I want to kind of look at certain things that will make the African community proud. We have to really think about that. When we look at, for example, Mansa Musa and his greatness, never heard about Mansa Musa until the last 10 years or so. Now we have to disseminate that information.
Gotcha. So, that was, believe it or not, that was a question from one of the listeners named Michelle.
Oh, thanks, Michelle.
Oh,
Thanks,
yeah.
Michelle. That's a heavy question, Michelle.
All right. So now, there's a Christine that listens out of Tampa. She said, if I ask you, what are your feelings on the history taught in school versus real history?
I think when we look at history, we have to look at it within a political landscape now. History and historical facts have always been taught under censorship, to be exact. The history in Jamaica, we were taught that Columbus discovered Jamaica, which is impossible. You can't discover a place that people are already living. We said that he went up and he created certain things, and we had even Columbus Day. I'm happy when I pass Columbus Park in Jamaica, I see that it's still under repair for the last 5 years, which sends a message. So when we look at within those contexts, we have to say that we have been taught certain history within the context that were misleading. No, we need to realign the history. We need to really go in depth and look at history from the African perspective or ancestors' perspective. We have to really go, and instead of looking just on text that has been written by white individuals, we need to kind of flip that script, examining those contexts and those historical facts that they are presented to us in a more logical way by questioning it from whose perspective are they looking at. For example, you know, they have written that slaves were obedient because the Bible stated that they should be obedient to their masters. Now we have to kind of flip that. Were they really obedient or coerced to be obedient within that context? So we have to flip that. You know, we have to ask ourselves critical questions.
Well, you take out it, you answer the next question. I mean, it's like, I just love how you elaborate and you go into that way. But you know what I want to ask you? I notice in when we go up on your channel and we listen to most of what you share with us on the Did You Know? I would say, you don't give us the information like you're teaching us. You're giving us the information in the sense that you still want us to go and research. Why do you do that?
I think in our today's context, we have to be critical readers. If we are not critical readers, then we'll be swayed by so many things and so many factors. So as individuals, we need to look at the source of the information. And I'll ask critical questions because I want individuals to understand the message or the channel produces the information. But you have a duty and care for your education to also look at the sources to verify. Because there are so many things that someone will spot in a museum and produce it as a fact or something. But if you dig deeper, you realize that there are some elements missing. So I want individuals not just to listen, but to go back and research what I have given and to look at different perspectives. That's so important.
Because there's so much more information,
Yes.
more that you probably
Yes,
even missed.
Yes, and that is key towards advancing oneself as a nation, as individuals in the black community, the black diaspora. We need to really educate ourselves and understand the need to read, to go deeper, to ask where the source is coming from.
Right, because 30 seconds isn't enough
No,
information.
not enough. Cannot be enough.
Wow. Well, I tell you, Rowan, your mind is different. I love it. Your respect.
Yes, 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 yes. Wow. That's the only word to describe what just occurred. And did you know? Family Affair alongside Sammy G. Jillian, big up yourself, you don't know. Dr. Ron. Dr. Ron. Thank you, thank you.